Nice weather. Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Lord, we ask that you be with us tonight in this meeting. Grant us wisdom and the prudence to use it wisely. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I'd like to call this evening's meeting of the Jackson City Council to order. I'd like to welcome everyone who's with us this evening. We'll begin with roll call. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Here.
Elliott.
Here.
Colby. Here. Peters.
Here.
Newkirk. Young. Here. Bach.
Here. The chair would like to have a motion to excuse Mr. Newkirk. Mr. Newkirk called the chair at about 4 o'clock today.
I move we excuse Mr.
Elliott? Second by Mr. Peters. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Next on our agenda is recognitions. Mayor Evans, you have anything for us?
Yes, I do. Since they're here, we have 3 members of the Jackson Fire Department here, fresh off a couple accident scenes they just come in from. At the last meeting, we had announced that Kyle Hickey was the new fire chief, or fire chief of the fire department, whatever it's called. With him tonight is Herbie Peoples and Stephen Moore. They have both been serving as interim assistant chiefs, and tonight, actually earlier today, Mr. Schweikhammer announced that Herbie Peoples would be serving as the assistant chief effective today. So congratulations, Herbie, as assistant fire chief. You want to address council?
I'm looking forward to serving the city proudly as the fire chief.
Okay. Well, we thank you, all of you, for your service. You've been serving as interims for quite some time. I went through this process. You guys might recall, we went through the civil service process, and they had, Kyle and Herbie were the only 2 that applied for the position of fire chief. When the civil service went through the process, they, at the same time, recommended that Kyle Hickey be named chief and that Herbie Peoples be named assistant chief. So we complete that process tonight. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Pete, you want a picture?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Hickey, I make a photogenic. Can I get you again?
Let's get it up.
You need to work.
We're going to have a arm over the neck. Yeah.
You stand there and put Herbie between us.
You get in with the office.
You're sort of shaking your hand.
Okay. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you for your service. Stan, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor. To my knowledge, I don't think we had anyone who signed up to speak this evening. So we'll move into the approval of the minutes. Council received a copy of the June 9th meeting in their packet. Is there any corrections or objections to the minutes as presented to council? Hearing none, the chair would opt for a motion. Mr. Bopp, is there a second? Ms. Young? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Next is our committee reports. Utility, Mr. Newkirk is ill this evening, so we'll go to budget and finance. Ms. Colby?
No report.
Thank you, Ms. Colby. Police, fire, and traffic, Mr. Foster?
I have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Service, Mr. Peters?
Yeah, we'll schedule the DORA meeting for July 28th at 6:30. It's before the last council meeting of July. We should be able to move forward after that meeting.
Okay, got it. We'll move into the auditor's report. Mr. Reed?
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Kirby?
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. Chief Hinch? No. Thank you, Chief Hinch. If you're also new, you will find in your packets a report from the fire department. Chief Hickey, you have anything?
Yeah, this is my first stab at this report. I will try to provide it to you monthly. I have a conflicted schedule with the county fire chiefs or their opposite meetings, so I'll try to come once a month. But if you look down through there and have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Thank you, Chief Hickey. Mayor's report?
Yeah. Of course, we've got several projects going on. I don't really see the need to update you on, I gave you an update on all of them a couple weeks ago. Of course, if you have any questions, you can ask about them. Our paving project, our water line project, our street lighting project, our downtown revitalization project, and of course, now our memorial building project. I met with AMP this week. AMP is our power, I don't know what the right word here is, but anyway, that's the co-op we're part of, where we're owners, members of, where we get power. And they gave their annual report last week to the electric department and myself. And just a couple fun facts I wanted to share with you guys, just so you're more knowledgeable. But there's every electric bill has three parts to it, and the energy, which is the production of the electric, and the transmission, and what they call the installed capacity. And Jackson is in a good position on the energy part of that cost, because we are part of AMP, and we have partial ownership in all of our production facilities that are producing the energy. In the past, there were times where that put us at a big disadvantage, but currently it is serving us well and puts us very favorably in the market for electricity. The transmission is by AEP. They do the transmission, bring that electric, no matter where it comes from, they bring it to Jackson. And that is separate from AMP. And then we have a capacity charge that is basically, they charge us a rate based upon our highest use of the year, our highest 5 times the usage of electric. So if you ever see us asking, to shave the peak or whatever, it's because the usage on those 5 highest days of usage, and for us it's in the summer, does determine what our electric rates are going to be for the next year. So our electricity, there's several different power plants that Jackson is part owner in. About a third of them are old coal plants, about a third of them are natural gas producing plants, and about a third of them are hydro plants. And part of our market and part of the city of Jackson's investment in hydro is what's keeping our electric rates down now, because it's most cost effective right now, or at least one of those plants it is. So what we're seeing here in Jackson is very stable electric rates, whereas some of the competitors, namely AEP, has been and is going to be seeing in the near future large increases. So we're in a favorable position. Actually have people wanting to get on city electric now, and the gap is going to get bigger. We're going to look even more favorable in the coming years, we believe. So I think it's just kind of neat to know some of that stuff, and also it feels good to know that those decisions that were made by the city of Jackson years ago, that were at sometimes terrible between then and now, are really working out now and have us very competitive in the marketplace with our AMP electric that we provide here. So also, the only other thing I want to make everybody aware of, believe it or not, next week's the 4th of July. So we'll have our annual 4th of July celebration in Jackson. There's a downtown group as part of it. I'm not sure who all's involved, but our fire department and the association, represented by these 3 men here tonight, I don't even know if they realize it yet, but they're in charge of of not only the fireworks, but also the parade that starts at 8 o'clock. They're in new positions. I'm sure they've been part of the fire department for a long time and aware of that, but that all happens on the July 3rd. Parade at 8 p.m., and I think that in the past, they've pretty much made it welcome to anyone, and fireworks around 10. So, wanted y'all to know that. Believe it or not, it's almost the 4th of July. It feels like it out there today, I will say that. That's all I have, Dan.
Thank you, Mayor. Questions for the mayor? Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Schweikhammer?
With next Friday being the 4th of July and a holiday, the city will be shut down. Therefore, garbage pickup for the 4th will run on the 3rd, which will be Thursday.
So Friday will be Thursday, where it used to be on Monday,
Correct.
but it will be
We'll try to
Thursday.
run it on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay. Also, as you can imagine, this time of year and the weather, the last couple of weeks, the pool has been at capacity almost on every day. Actually, there's some days where we've had to shut down the number, just because the number of lifeguards available. First couple of weeks, it wasn't that way, but the last couple of weeks, and this week especially, it's that way. Right before I left the office today, I did get a call from one of the county engineers. They have a culvert replacement project planned for next week out on Hammertown Road going back to Hammertown Lake. They do believe those two will each be one-day outages. So I'm just giving anybody a heads up that the county will be out there working a couple days next week. The last item I want to talk about is trash cans. I don't know how many have gotten phone calls regarding trash cans, the new ones out, good, bad, or indifferent. Most of the calls that I've been receiving have been from some of our senior citizens, basically the size of the can, them unable to manage them, plus it's a lot more capacity than they would ever use over a long period of time. And so I am looking at some options, same type of dump capabilities, but for some smaller cans. The larger cans were well enough received, even though if you look at Facebook, it may not feel that way, that we've actually had to go back and reorder more. We've had so many requests for additional cans. So we will be looking at some possible smaller cans. The two smaller options are a 35 or a 65 gallon. The current ones that are out there are the 95 gallon. So most of the seniors, I kind of just canvass them as they call in, or individuals saying that they, just can't handle that big one. They feel that the 35 gallon will be more than enough of what they need on a weekly basis. So I'll talk more to the administration and to the garbage department, but that may be an option that we look at purchasing in the very near future also to assist with the needs that we're hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Question, Mr. Peters?
Quick garbage can question. I had a couple people ask, like, how they don't have any holes in the bottom. There's no drainage, so like stuff collects in the bottom. And my instinct was like, well, just leave the lid off. Well, duh, if it rains in there, it's gonna rain in there too. So what can you just turn it over on its side to let the stank run out of there? Or like, what's your suggestion? Because you're gonna have to clean them out after a while because they're 2 weeks old and even like they smell horrible because there's no way for anything to.
Well, I guess I would say it's the same way that if they had their own private trash cans before, those don't come with holes in the bottom of them, and they probably hose them out as well.
True that.
Or they drill holes in the bottom.
That is
That's what I was getting at. So like, I don't want people drilling holes in the bottom of the can.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. That's my question, actually. I was very indirect.
Yeah, I mean, if they can't keep the lid shut, which would be the preferred, of course, but if they can't keep the lid shut, they just got to clean them out and continue to use them.
Don't drill holes in the bottom.
Don't drill holes in the bottom, please.
That's what I was fishing for there. That would get misconstrued.
Mayor, do you have something to add there?
I just wanted to add, since he's talking about that, that I did talk to a couple of our workers on the truck, and they were very much in favor of it. Says it's going well, they like it, because I was prepared to, to get hit pretty hard about it. But they actually like it, said it's working well, and said for the most part, people are complying pretty good. But one of the things they mentioned was that the garbage is a lot drier now, because it used to be wet and it'd be soaked and be boxed. A full truck going to the landfill, because they weigh every one of them before they dump it. The trucks are lighter now, even though they're still full.
That was all part of the plan, right?
Yeah, it is part of the plan, and it's to keep, those trash cans by ordinance are supposed to be closed, and to keep the water out of it, because we're paying for water when we haul it up there too. So, keeping it dry does help. And the workers, at least the two I talked to, like it and think it's going well.
One more first ward question. They replaced the gas line at the laundromat across South Street at Broadway and obviously Columbia Gas. Why can't we make them fix those immediately? Like, what are they waiting for? Honestly, it's with the rain that we had,
Yeah.
it's a mess. It's
had-
dangerous
I
as
had
well
that
because there's
connection to
nothing to tell someone to slow down from.
We dropped another foot, didn't it?
Yeah, and we should force them to fix those immediately. We should, if they dig it up, they should fix it within a few days. I don't care if they're waiting for, we've heard stories where they're waiting for asphalt or whatever, pour concrete in it, do something, fix the hole, but we shouldn't let them just fix that at their leisure.
I agree.
Okay,
They will be on that tomorrow.
thank you.
He's got a contact there.
Good deal. That's all I had, thanks.
Thank you. Other questions for the mayor? Hearing none, we'll move into the ordinance and resolutions portion of our meeting. We will begin with ordinance 26-2025 on second reading. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance creating a pay policy to permit city employees who are City of Jackson volunteer firefighters to be paid for their response time to an emergency call to the fire station where the employee shall clock out of the city employee timekeeping system and declaring an emergency.
Discussion.
Just some general questions that I've kind of thought about the last couple weeks. How many city employees are on the fire department total?
Seven.
What departments do they work for?
One out of the utility department, one out of the garage, and I believe the rest of them are out of street and alley.
And one tree trimmer.
And, yeah, you're right, one tree trimmer.
And then on top of that question, is everyone allowed to respond?
Right now, we do not limit, because you don't know what the situation is when you get the turnout.
So everybody, all 7 of those people can just leave at will?
There has to be coordinated with their leadership that day to what projects they're on. There are certain guidelines for both the utility office and for our construction crew, that if they have assets that they have to stay and maintain, as far as pouring concrete, or if we're doing meter readings, that we got to get bills out on time, that they do not leave during the call.
So you're saying not everyone can leave at every time, at all, at any time?
I'm saying that depending on what the schedule is for the day and what they coordinate with their leadership.
Okay, so on top of that, these are emergency calls or non-emergency calls in some cases. So the fire department is responding to what they call these lift assists, which are county issues. So whether they're scheduled or not, personally, is that a really good use of double employees? Is that a really good use of sending the city employees on those types of calls? And if they're being scheduled, then why are non-city employees not responding to these types of scheduled assists? Non-emergency, helping the county's calling, and we're just going. So it's a question, do you think that's a good use of taxpayers' money to respond to those for non-emergency purposes?
If you remember some legislation that was tabled there was addressing part of that lift assist in there at that time, that those would not be paid runs, those would strictly be volunteer runs. This is an issue that we've had and have talked back and forth for probably 3 to 4 years on the lift assist, because it's one of those areas to where we don't always get called for it, other groups do, but we also never have to call out the county EMS. It's just kind of been I'll call it a community mutual agreement. They support us, we've supported them. Do I think that lift assist is a good use of a firefighter's time? I do not, and I've voiced that, and that's why it's, I've actually met with them in the past on that.
So
Not the firefighters, EMS.
one other question too is like, we do traffic control. That's not an emergency. I mean, if, it's like,
I think you got to address each situation.
Okay.
You got to evaluate each situation.
okay, so do you think that's a good use of city funds to spend on traffic control?
It depends on the situation and what the hazard is.
So just blocking traffic, saying like, we need to work through these things. I've reached out lots of times. We don't get anywhere. We need to work through these things. Well, my last question is, I went through both of your policy and procedure books, the city employees and then the Jackson Fire Department, which is, it commingles volunteer fire department. It says employees still in there. I know you worked through those, but these need amended to fit what you're asking council to do, because we'll rewind the tape. We changed the structure of the fire department because we were paying city employees to make fire calls and pay them their wages. So they were basically dual employees. You got a legal opinion of that, and now all we've done is just kind of move the parts around and change terms of things. I still don't understand what the pushback is for trying to fix it instead of, this is reactive. This is reactive because of poor timekeeping, and I showed the council the check, little tick marks for calls that we were recording time on. I don't know, hopefully you're still not using a roster where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to keep track of who's there and who's not there. So I understand, so we're being reactive to poor planning and poor structure. We need to fix this. We really do need to fix this. You guys are not going to be in those seats forever. What you're doing is, whoever comes in the future is, you're hamstringing the progress of it. We are growing. We're growing. This town's going to continue to grow. Good things are happening here. I just don't understand the concept of, we want everything to be great, but then we keep reacting to a situation that we have complete control to just fix. Even the same people sitting in these chairs, I bet you if you ask these two city employees here if they'd rather be full-time firefighters or down here sweating it out, pouring a curb, I guarantee you I know which one they'll pick. So we've talked about money, we passed this tax. We added the fire department, and you wouldn't have added it had I not made a big deal out of it. Even Pete Wilson said, Ryan said he wouldn't support it if you didn't add the fire department, so we added it. We need to fix it. Everybody just sits here and we talk about it, and then we don't talk about it, and then the seats and the heads change, and it's just nothing. We need to progress. Wellston has a full-time fire department. Wellston can do it, but we can't. It doesn't make any sense. I won't waste any more of your time. I just think this is reactive to a situation that we tried to fix, but we've just kicked the can down the road. Like I said, we just changed the titles and what we're calling people. We're still paying them. They're still paid. to go. So they're not just showing up for, like, the one we looked at where they get $1 a year. They're not showing up. They're being paid for every time they show up. So lastly, I will ask this question, you can answer, you don't have to answer. Are you gonna update the policy and procedures for both of these to fit what you're trying to ask council to pass?
The policy and procedure manual will have to be updated to match the ordinance.
Okay, so the sections for outside employment, conflict of interest, all those other things, time records, and then if you go to the fire department one, there's a whole bunch of just, I know that it came to council, and then once Clemens and Nelson told you that you could just make it didn't have to go to council, so then we're out of the loop on it. And then I had the original one, and there's a lot of it's copy and paste where it'll say employees or firemen, and then firefighters, and then volunteers, and then Jackson Fire Department, and then another point right below it would say Jackson Volunteer Fire Department. It's like, we need to fix it. That's all. I'll stop talking now.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Any other discussion? Hearing none, this constitutes a second reading of ordinance 26-2025. Ordinance on first reading, ordinance 28-2025. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance amending the City of Jackson zoning regulations, section 1102.01, that defines yard front, rear, and side when determining the appropriate setback and height requirements for fences.
Could I have a motion to adopt ordinance 20-2025 as presented to council? Mr. Elliott?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Peters. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion, Mr. Swackhammer.
This came out of the meeting, I believe, prior to the last council meeting that I was not a part of. I've had a chance to read it. I have no concerns about being able to enforce it.
Thank you, Mr. Swackhammer. Other discussion?
No discussion.
Hearing none.
Yeah, well, there's more discussion. I thought he was gonna add a few points to Tony.
I was, but I think my issue was, I would have liked to have seen we're talking about a corner lot. So the fence along the side street, which is not the address street, but the side street, I would have preferred to see it stop at the back of the house. But that's just a personal aesthetic of mine. I think it looks better, that along the side of a 4-foot fence would look better, but the way it's written, a 6-foot is okay, all the way to the front of the house, so I have no objection at this point. I thought I did, but I don't.
To the front corner of the house.
The front corner.
Well, I think we need to move forward so we can stop
Yeah.
the non-stop zoning hearings that we're having over corner lots. So I'll move to suspend the rules so we can get this
I'll second.
amended.
Mr. Elliott, second. Discussion.
I just realized there's not an emergency clause, so it's not going to take effect for 30 days. even if
No, we
it
can have
passes tonight.
discussion, right? Can we still amend this after session? All we're doing is suspend the rules, right, Mr. Kirby?
And probably, I don't think we actually had a public meeting on it. The new code does require a public, if I remember right, the new.
Why are we voting?
Well, so this would be the first reading. If you have a public hearing before this next reading, then you'd be free to move on however you want to do it.
So we probably should have a public meeting this evening regarding this change?
That was going to be my suggestion. If this
So on the
didn't pass at the end of the
So on the
meeting.
14th, 6:30.
Is that enough time, or do they need to?
No, it's only 10. It's only 10 days.
What, 6:45? I mean,
That's
it's
fine.
it's like literally semantics.
Mr. Elliott?
Verbiage.
Yeah. 6:45 on that, on the July the 14th.
Need to remind you.
So we're going to add some extra discussion here, but, so no further action will be taken, so this will,
We have a motion on the floor to suspend the rules, so we need to vote that down. Or we can just suspend the rules and carry on. We don't have to pass
What's your?
Either one will work.
Just vote it down. We're suspending the rules, so we don't want to.
Okay. Ms. Coon?
Okay. Foster?
No.
Elliott?
No.
Colby? No. Peters?
No.
Young? No. Bach?
So the suspension of the rules is voted down, so we will go with the first reading. Going into second reading, then on the 14th, for ordinance 282025.
Do we want to add an emergency clause for that meeting?
If someone wants to make an amendment to do that,
So
That'll
that
keep
I
us
can-
from pushing it back to second reading again. Is it too late to take any more action on this? I'll move to add the emergency clause, so after the public hearing on the 14th, that we can carry on with implementing the changes.
Is there a second to the motion? Mr. Elliott, second. All those in favor of the amendment to ordinance 282025, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. So that will be 6:45, July the 14th, for this look at ordinance 282025. Next, council consideration, first reading, ordinance 292025. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance approving additional appropriations in the water fund and the sewer fund for utility distribution and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt ordinance 292025 as presented to council? Ms. Colby, is there a second? Mr. Elliott, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion, Mr. Reed.
Okay, what you've got here, you've got grant funding and money paid for a tap for hers, and they need to have it appropriated so that they can do the work. The grant money was for generators. I believe Tracy can speak to that if somebody's got a question on it for the water. But they weren't in the budget originally. This is a reimbursement, so we'll get this money back. So it's running the department's a little short, but it's money they will get back this year. So basically, we're not spending the city money, we'll have reimbursement for it.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Other discussion?
Just a quick question, we'll get reimbursed this year or?
This year.
Okay. I'll move to suspend the rules.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Elliott. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster? Yes. Elliott?
Yes.
Colby? Yes. Peters?
Yes.
Young? Yes. Bach?
Further discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster?
Yes.
Elliott?
Yes.
Colby? Yes. Peters?
Yes.
Young? Yes. Bach?
Ordinance 292025 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 302025. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance approving additional appropriations in the garbage improvement fund and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt ordinance 302025 as presented to council? Ms. Young, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Peters, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion, Mr. Reed.
What we're doing here, this was a sale of the little garbage truck, and they're reappropriating the money back to the garbage department. I believe Mr. Swackhammer could address what they're trying to do with that.
Yeah, we've been putting aside money each year for the future purchase of a garbage truck. There's approximately $300,000 sitting there already that was approved in last year's budget. This will go with that money as we prepare to make a purchase in the near future. That'll be coming to council at a later date.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Other discussion?
Mr. President, motion to suspend the rules.
Motion by Mr. Elliott to suspend, second, Ms. Young. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster? Yes. Elliott?
Yes.
Colby? Yes. Peters?
Yes.
Young? Yes. Bach?
Further discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster? Yes. Elliott?
Yes.
Colby? Peters?
Yes.
Young? Yes. Bach?
Ordinance 302025 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 312025. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance amending the City of Jackson zoning regulations, Section 1114.07, reducing certain fence height from 8 to 6 feet, consistent with the prior zoning code.
Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 31-2025 as presented to council? Mr. Peters, is there a second? Ms. Colby, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion, Mr. Swackhammer.
Again, this came out of the last meeting's zoning recommendations to council, just a correction in some language that was in the books.
Thank you, Mr. Swackhammer. Other discussion?
Mr. President, does this fall under a hearing scenario as well? Even though we kind of think it was just a
mistake. If you're having the other one, it was my intention, would have been my intention, had I remembered this one was going to be changed, to combine the two, and I didn't, so I was anticipating it would both be heard at the same public meeting. If you want to take the position that it was correcting a mistake, that it wasn't supposed to say 8 foot, if it could pass it, it probably would be as easy an improvement to just have a public hearing.
Do we need to have a set for?
If you want the emergency clause, you can add it at the next meeting.
Can we have the same meeting, like the same, two topics, same meeting? Okay. So I would move to add the emergency clause to ordinance 31-2025.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Elliott, second. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. So that will be, ordinance 31-2025 will be incorporated into the July 14th meeting for discussion. Next for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 32-2025. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance approving additional appropriations in the general fund, fire equipment fund for purchase of pumper truck and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt ordinance 32-2025 as presented to council? Mr. Bob, is there a second to the motion? Ms. Young? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Mr. Schwackhammer, would you like to start discussion?
Sure. Later in the package, get back to Resolution 2625. The city is getting several aged trucks, and I'm actually going to let Chief Hickey speak here to actually how they are, what the state's recommendations are, and why he and the department has looked at speccing the truck that you will later see coming up in a resolution. Chief, you want to address that, please?
Yeah, so this truck is a...
Hey, Chief, could you come to the mic, just for those who might be watching at home so they can hear? I appreciate it. There you go. Thank you.
This truck is a direct replacement for our current rescue pumper we have. It's a 2001 model. It's sitting right at 24 years old. It is first out on all car wrecks or medical calls. We do run it as a backup engine. It is very similar to the truck we have now. It doesn't have a generator because most of our extrication tools now are battery powered. They actually use a standard DeWalt battery. It doesn't have the pump set because the hydraulics. So it's a very similar size truck. It doesn't have some options like that. It does not have a SCBA fill station and Cascade on it. That was spec'd under Richard Eubanks. We have not used it a whole lot, so we did not do that. You know, that's probably a $30,000-$40,000 option we did not go for. NFPA tells us that, NFPA 1901, that trucks are, after 15 years, are supposed to be replaced into reserve status. At 25 years, they're supposed to be taken out of service. This truck that we have spec'd out is an 800-day build time. That is still coming out of COVID, so we won't see it for almost 3 years. So if we go and say we want to purchase it today, we'll see it in about 2.5, 3 years. In the last 7 years, the price of fire trucks has doubled. So we're fighting a lot of that, but we want to get it on the books and get it in place because it'll be well out of its service life by the time we receive it. standard engine with some rescue capacity. It's like the Swiss Army knife for the fire department. It runs on a multitude of calls. It's still a Class A engine, so it can fight your standard house fire without any trouble. It carries hose, ladders, all that requirement, but it does have all the rescue equipment on it for MVCs, car wrecks, stuff like that. It is what we run to open doors for EMS, whatever we've got to do. So it's nothing fancy. Randy actually said it when we sat down and met with the manufacturer. He said, I know Kyle want the Cadillac, let's get the Chevrolet. And that guy, I believe, he said he's already picked out the Chevrolet. It's nothing fancy, but it does do the job that we need. So if you guys have any questions about it, I can tell you, engineer by trade, so I can tell you about any spec on the truck. That's kind of my game, so.
Yeah, I'll ask a question. Are we going with someone local because it's a better deal, or?
That is all.
Turnaround, or what?
That is all purchased through the state term purchasing. It is nice to have them in town locally, because when we do break, we've got it, the truck this one will replace is actually having air issues after tonight's wreck. We came back, it's out of service, the mechanic's gonna look at it first thing in the morning. So having those guys local, working on their truck is a huge asset to us, but not a requirement. The trucks are actually built in the Dakotas somewhere, I think South Dakotas. But it's negotiated through the state term. Brett can probably speak a little better on that maybe than I can.
It's done through state purchasing, so there is a minimum that's guaranteed lowest price.
Yeah,
I think everybody's familiar with the state.
yeah.
But I was just wondering why if we got a better deal locally.
He does want a truck in this area. I feel like the price is very fair. He would love to have one in his home county.
Cindy, is there a copy with everybody's resolution?
No, I have a copy.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to have a copy like I was about to ask you, asking us, we don't even know what.
Yeah,
what
I
it
mean,
is.
this has got all the specs, the truck, and the state bid contract.
I can make copies after the meeting.
Here, I would like to have one before I vote. Did I just see yours?
Oh, are we gonna vote for it?
Yeah, because there's a deadline of July 17th. so
Okay,
we
yes.
have Not a lot of time to turn it around.
We have talked them into, this specking process has taken a great deal of time. We have talked them into holding their pricing. We went past the deadline initially. They did hold it for us. I think a 7/16, something like that. Our price may go up, and we may be able to negotiate it to be held. It's just not a friendly time.
Other questions?
Like, when I buy a car, I want to know, like, what's the warranty on a fire truck?
You know, I don't remember the warranty terms off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up, but I can report that back to you guys if I need to. This is a very large manufacturer. We didn't go to a mom and pop shop. These guys crank trucks out after, there's only probably one bigger, Pierce out of the Dakotas, I think, as well, maybe Wisconsin. It is a larger truck manufacturer. They're running really similar lead times. Everybody's right there. It's a parts issue as far as they're all running into the same parts. You buy a fire truck, it has their logo on it and their cab, but it'll have a hail pump. They use a lot of the similar equipment.
Just a little more question. Looking at what you gave us for your statistic, the vehicle replacement plan at the bottom,
Yeah.
so you have 4 on here, in the red.
Right, so the first one is 1407, that is the truck we were talking about, that is your rescue. It's sitting at right now 24 years old, it'll be 27 by the time we get it out of the fleet. The tanker was a grant, I believe, years back in 2002. It is on the list as well. We don't currently have a plan to replace it. And then the brush truck and utility truck, those aren't what I consider a critical item. We do use them a lot, but we may drag that out. That does not fall under NFPA 1901.
And then I guess a question for the auditor, are we still paying on anything? We're still making payments towards what equipment?
We have one that falls off in this year, in June or July. It would be the engine, I believe, 1409. And then the latter is paid off early next year. We do not have any money due, I believe, until this truck arrives, so we would not spend any money for 800 days.
That's correct.
And we're paying for it in full with these appropriations.
No, no, sir.
Okay, so,
Can I answer?
yeah, go ahead, you want to.
Okay, so if you're going under contract, I have to sign a paper that the money, I'm tying up the money.
For how long?
For the until it arrives.
Till they go.
For 8, okay.
So it's not going anywhere. I will not write a check, there will be not, it will be in a PO held for a specific purpose. That way I can sign a paper that says the money is here.
So there's no other plans, I guess, what I'm asking is there's no other plans to buy anything for 800 days? Is that what you're saying?
It would be nice to replace the tanker. It doesn't run nearly as often as our rescue truck does. That's something we need to look at, but we've not got that far.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Hickey? Any further action to be taken on ordinance 32-2025 at this time?
Make a motion, we suspend rules.
Motion to suspend, is there a second? Ms. Young, second? Discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster?
Yes.
Elliott?
Yes.
Colby?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Further discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster?
Yes.
Elliott?
Yes.
Colby?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Young? Bach?
Yes.
Ordinance 32-2025 has been approved. Next, we'll begin with the resolution section, and we'll start with Resolution 21-2025, first reading. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution authorizing and directing the Service Safety Director to correct the city zoning map for State Route 93 and what was known as the former Meridian site and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to adopt Resolution 21-25 as presented to
Move to
council.
adopt.
Mr. Elliott, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Peters, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Schwackhammer.
The area around where Casa is, where Starbucks is going to go, those were colored the wrong color on the map. So they show it's industrial, where they're actually a business. And it's just requesting permission to change the map.
How are we going to have that here?
That you do not, because when you passed it the last time, it clearly was part of the original map. It was part of all the parcels are the same, the acreage is the same. There's been since a new parcel split out of them, but this one's truly just a correction.
Okay, is
But you passed the map, so that's why we have the resolution for the heritage.
let's change one of these three things. I'll move to suspend the rules on this one.
Motion by Mr. Peters, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Elliott, seconds. Discussion. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster?
Yes.
Elliott?
Yes.
Colby?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Young? Bach?
Yes.
Further discussion. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster?
Yes.
Elliott?
Yes.
Colby?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Young? Bach?
Yes.
Resolution 21-2025 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, Resolution 22-2025. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution declaring the necessity of a cemetery levy and certifying the cemetery levy issued to the Board of Elections and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2025 as presented to council?
So moved.
Ms. Young, second by Mr. Peters. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Schwackhammer.
Yes, during the last meeting, you passed allowing it to go to the county for certification. The county auditor has done so. This is to allow it to show on the ballot this November.
Thank you, Mr. Schwackhammer. Further discussion?
Yeah, someone set a calendar reminder for 4 years from today, so we can maybe adjust this. a joke. That's a lot.
Any further discussion?
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Mr. Peter.
I second.
Second, Mr. Elliott. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster. Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Young. Bach.
Yes.
Further discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Young. Bach.
Yes.
Resolution 2025 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, Resolution 23, 2025. Ms. Coon?
A resolution authorizing the solicitation of competitive bids for the demolition of the Memorial Building and Auditorium and declaring an emergency.
Do we have a motion to adopt Resolution 23, 2025 as presented to council?
Move to adopt.
Mr. Elliott, second by Mr. Bach. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion, Mayor Evans.
Would just allow us to, excuse me, prepare the specs and solicit bids for that. Pretty self-explanatory, really.
Thank you, Mayor. Other questions, discussion?
Previously in the service meeting, I'm in favor of the resolution, but we only notified the public tonight, and we only talked about it to council 14 days ago. So I think we should wait to move forward at earliest our next meeting. Just my opinion.
And I'm fine with that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, this constitutes the first reading of Resolution 23, 2025. Next, for council consideration on first reading, Resolution 24, 2025. Ms. Coon?
A resolution authorizing the amendment number 3 to the CMR agreement with Geiger Brothers Incorporated for the Jackson Downtown Revitalization Project and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt Resolution 24, 2025? Ms. Colby, is there a second? Mr. Peters, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion. Mayor Evans.
The council had previously approved two GMPs, as they're called, basically to the contract, Geiger Brothers, for the downtown project. They had previously approved two pieces that were for early work. That's already been done. This is for all the rest of the work.
Thank you, Mayor. Any further discussion?
So the amendment that we're talking about, 3, there's other supporting documents. What's Amendment 3? There's nothing attached to this. I don't know what Amendment 3 of the agreement is. Can you clue that in?
Do you have that, Cindy?
What, this one? That's all I have.
I can't tell from here.
I don't know if that's it or not.
Tracy, was Amendment 3 part of this ordinance?
I believe that is what the paper that Cindy just had from Geiger Brothers, Exhibit C, that on the second page, it does show the guaranteed maximum price dollar amount that's in the resolution. So it is the total of 4 bid packages that make up the rest of that work for the downtown revitalization project. Which is water line work, concrete, clay pavers, and electrical. Those are the 4 bid packages, as well as some additional fees for Geiger Brothers as the construction manager of this.
Any other discussion? Is there any further action to be taken on ordinance 24, 2025?
Mr. President, this work's already happening, right? This is, like, we're holding this up if we sit on.
Well, Tracy, help me out here. I think we've already approved the contract with them. but except for that final guaranteed price, it had to be, and it's come at you in three pieces now, amendments 1, 2, and 3. Maybe Joe can help us out, but this process is kind of new to him too, this construction management process. But yes, the project is rolling, we meet every week on it. This sets the final price on it, they had to guarantee that it can't go over, and I believe it is right at the budget amount.
So the front of the page says 2.6, and we're amending it to 3.2.
No,
What,
no, that's not right.
So that's what you-
I don't have that paper that you're looking at, I guess.
it'd just be nice.
It's part of the, I mean.
It's not part of the ordinance, but-
It should have been attached to the ordinance before, I don't have it. Do you have it? It should have been attached to the ordinance, and I don't have it either. I didn't look for it ahead of time because
I don't know what the previous ordinance or resolution that we passed says. We don't have. Sorry for asking.
is she going after copies of it?
No,
That's just,
yes, sir, we go to the restroom.
Okay. Well, here is the, if you want.
yeah, we got it, we got it here, so.
Okay. Oh, you got it there? Okay.
So any further action to be taken on ordinance 2024-2025?
So I'll ask you then if we sit on this, is holding anything up.
Tracy, can you answer that? How timely is it? It does have an emergency clause.
Yeah.
How timely is it?
It would definitely be nice to have it passed so we can sign the agreement, so they can award the bids and move forward with their planning. We are pushing them to a really tight schedule for the grant funding as well. So it would definitely help us to stay on schedule from running the project if we can get this agreement signed. It does pretty much fall right into what we've been planning all along with the project and the bid packages, how they were designed.
So I would say yes, Ryan, unless there's an objection to it or a question.
It is great. You should probably move on. I'll move to suspend.
I'll second it.
Motion and second, is there other discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Kirby? Roll call.
Foster?
Yes. We should just write these on here. Elliott?
Yes.
Colby? Yes. Peters?
Yes.
Young? Yes. Bob? Yes.
Further discussion? Mr. Kirby?
Foster?
Yes.
Elliott?
Yes.
Colby? Excuse me, Colby? Peters?
Yes.
Young? Yes. And Bob? Yes.
Resolution 24-2025 is duly adopted. Chair would like to thank Mr. Kirby for stepping in there and doing a bang-up job on that roll call. Next, for council consideration, is Resolution 25-2025. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution of the Legislative Authority of the City of Jackson, Ohio, repealing and amending Resolution 12-2025 and accepting the bid of Jayco Concrete LLC based upon unit pricing for the Anderson Drive and Florence Avenue sidewalk project, as it was the lowest and best responsive bid submitted, and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt Resolution 25-2025 as presented to council? Ms. Young? Second by Mr. Peters. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Swackhammer.
I'll take this. This is actually to amend what we passed at the last meeting, and there's two different points presented. One is the name of the contractor. It was wrong on the last resolution. And then also the amount. The last one, last resolution had a finite amount, and part of our work is per square foot, so it may go a little bit over this, calculated as so much a square foot. We had just estimated it, and we actually got them doing a little bit extra, so we'll probably go over this, so that's why we wrote this, kind of like the paving contract, where so much of it is set, and then so much of it is so much a square foot. And what that is this is the sidewalks down on Anderson and Florence Avenue, and we wasn't sure exactly how many square feet some of the driveway approaches would be, so this allows us to, the amount may be slightly more, or actually might be slightly less than that amount on there, based upon how many square feet it is.
Thank you, Mayor. Other discussions?
Just one quick question, and I may have asked this the last time that we discussed this. What's the timeline on this project?
They're almost done with it. We awarded a contract to them last week, they started and they're almost done with it. If you've been down there, or if you haven't been down there lately, it's the new sidewalks down the one side of Anderson and all the way down the one side of Florence.
Okay,
That were tore out during the water line replacement.
Right, so what, that's pretty quick. Like, can't we use them for some of the other streets that we need fixed?
We could, it's just expensive.
This is still falling under grant
This is
funding.
grant money.
This is utilizing up all the grant funds that was left on the 93 water line project.
Okay, so grant money, but I'm saying they completed a job in a little over a week, you said?
Yeah, 2 weeks,
It's pretty efficient.
quick.
Okay.
It's always good when you have good weather, it's not, for a few days.
That's all I have.
Yeah, they have done the job very quick.
Any other discussion? Any further action to be taken?
Yeah, we need to suspend the rules.
Yes.
Project's almost completed.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll move to do that.
Is there a second? Ms. Young, second. Discussion? Ms. Good?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Young. Bach.
Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Young. Yes. Bach.
Resolution 25-2025 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, we'll look at first reading for Resolution 26-2025. Ms. Coon?
A resolution of the legislative authority of the city of Jackson, Ohio, authorizing the service safety director to purchase a Star Pumper fire truck from Johnson's Emergency Vehicle Solutions for $1,119,117 and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt Resolution 26-2025 as presented to council? Ms. Young, second by Mr. Bach. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion. Mr.
I do
Elliott.
not have this in my packet.
Well, I'm actually getting another question. Like in the heading, it says Star. Did I miss something? Is Star the brand of it? Like I thought that paper said Spartan on it, maybe? Did I miss something? Is that the name of the truck?
No, David.
Well, the chassis is a Spartan Metro Star.
Okay. Okay. Didn't want to.
Kind of, some of those, I mean, I deal with them a little bit on the insurance side with certain departments, and you find that some of them, they start at a certain, but then the more parts they put on it, it gets,
It's added another name.
it all goes more. Yes, that's correct. So, other discussion? Any further action to be taken on this motion?
Yeah, we need to suspend the rules, we already appropriate money, we gotta meet the July 17th, 2025 deadline, or else the price is different, I'm sure. So, I'll move to suspend the rules.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Elliott, second. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Young. Bach.
Yes.
Further discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Young. Yes. Bob.
Resolution 26-2025 is duly adopted. I want to thank council for their work in the ordinance and resolution section of our meeting. I don't believe we have any correspondence to speak of. Anyone have any old business?
Old business, last meeting I'd asked for a resolution for Pearl and Columbia for preservation, because we just did a voice vote. So if we could get that for our next meeting, that way it's searchable and not hidden in council minutes.
Any other old business? You addressed the door, so that meeting, just a reminder, will be the 28th at 6:30. Any new business to be brought before council?
I guess this is old new business, we allocated money to purchase iPads, so we don't have to do all this crazy paper stuff. I was wondering if the administration could grant some time for whoever's in charge of that to get those to us.
Cindy's got an update, actually.
And we
I have-
discussed this today.
Yeah, I have an update as far as when we can have them, but as far as, I don't know if you're discussing training or not. The iPads are in, he has them programmed, they just need charged, and I did the purchase order for the covers, and if those are ordered in the next day or so, we'll have them by the end of the week. So as far as training though, nothing's developed.
Everyone here has an iPhone. Or some sort of smartphone. It's a big smartphone. What's training?
The chair will speak to the IT to encourage him to come in just for a few moments prior to our next meeting. So it should be available. They kind of, to be honest with you, they're a little long past being in. So, but we will.
Swimming in paper over here every day. It's maddening.
Other new business to be brought before council. Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Peters, is there a second? Ms. Colby? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.